Coming up on State of Events, it's Election Day. We will give you all you need to know about close races and where to vote.
And later, an update on the reason why Google employees organized a walkout. We have all the details. State of Events starts now.
Welcome to State of Events. I'm Alexis Gonzalez.
And I'm Gianni Bagnarello. Let's get to our top story.
Today is Election Day. Are you voting? In San Francisco alone, there are over 600 places to vote. From 7 this morning to 8 tonight, registered voters are able to cast their ballot in person. For those of you who missed the voter registration deadline, you may register and vote a provisional ballot at the Department of Elections Voting Center in City Hall, room 48 until 8 p.m. today.
Today's Election Day, California voters, go out and vote at your local polling place. You can find a polling place by visiting SFSU, sfgov.org. There will be an Excel sheet of a list of San Francisco polling places where, with exact addresses and even with the steepest low percentage where the address is located for those with disabilities. You may also use the polling place and sample ballot lookup tool to access what places are closest to you for your nearest convenience. And for you, San Francisco State students who live on campus, you're able to walk right behind student housing and vote at the San Francisco Fire Department Station 19, so no excuses. You may bring a sample ballot, a ballot worksheet, or other materials to help cast your vote, but nothing is required other than a form of identification.
The first group of the migrant caravan from Central America, consisting of mostly boys and men, have hit a milestone and reached Mexico City. They've been given temporary shelter at a sports stadium. The group that consisted of 5,000 migrants traveling the U.S.-Mexican border left Honduras on October 12th. President Trump plans to send as many as 50,000 troops to the border to stop the migrant caravan from reaching the United States border. This could cost the United States up to $220 million, according to U.S. defense officials. While the caravan is still over a month away from reaching the U.S. border, a Pentagon risk assessment found that the caravan does not pose a threat to the U.S. Department despite the claims by President Trump.
And President Trump troops by the thousands in preparation of the caravan. But the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff says that they will not be interacting with the immigrants. The White House also requested for the U.S. military to build housing facilities for migrant detainees at the U.S.-Mexican border, but the Pentagon denied the request. More than 7,000 members of the Department of Defense alone, with 2,100 National Guardsmen, are now deployed at the border.
Last Thursday, during the Missouri midterm MAGA rally, President Donald Trump took the time to address his controversial views on birthright citizenship, calling the 14th Amendment crazy lunatic policy. He talked about his plans to end the constitutional right that allows the babies of non-citizens full citizenship.
Hundreds of thousands of children born to illegal immigrants are made automatic citizens of the United States every year because of this crazy lunatic policy.
Constitutional scholars, however, say the order would only be passed if a constitutional amendment was created and if there was a 2/3 majority vote in the House and the Senate. Now for more national news, our reporter Ashley Stevens.
Google employees staged walkouts last week in protest to sexual misconduct allegations against high-ranking positions in the company being swept under the rug. Participation was worldwide, from New York to London, here in Silicon Valley. This protest came after the New York Times published an article reporting that Andy Rubin, the co-founder of Android, walked away with a $90 million exit package despite the company finding the sexual allegations against him to be true. According to the New York Times, this was just one of the credible accusations against heads of top companies. Additional stories of assault by coworkers were shared at the walkouts, according to Google CEO Sundar Pichai. Moments like this show that we didn't always get it right, and so we are committed to doing better. William McCovey, San Francisco star first baseman in the 1960s and 70s, has died. He was 80 years old. McCovey is best known for his time with the Giants, where he earned the nickname Stretch. He made his major league debut on July 30th, 1959, where he went 4 for 4 on 2 doubles and 2 triples off of Hall of Famer Robin Roberts. He won NL Rookie of the Year in '59 and helped bring home the 1962 World Series title against the New York Yankees. He won the National League MVP title in 1969 and retired in 1980 as a Giant. He was later inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1986. McCovey stayed active with the Giants organization until his death, and his legacy lives on throughout his statue at McCovey Cove, the area right field, right behind the right field fence of AT&T Park. He will also be remembered through the Giants' Willie Mack Award that is given to the players that honor his spirit and leadership. Boston mob boss James Whitey Bulger was killed while serving his life sentence in prison last Tuesday. Bulger was brutally beaten and stabbed to death. The prison in West Virginia has now had 3 victims die due to stabbings in the last 7 months. Bulger had just arrived to Hazleton the day prior. Investigators have reportedly identified Fadios Freddy Gias, a West Springfield Mafia hitman, as one of the suspects. The Irish-American mob boss Bulger managed to elude federal authorities for over 16 years before he was arrested in June of 2011 for his role in 11 murders and other crimes. The homicide is still being investigated. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Ashley. Next on the State of Events, an update on the anti-Semitist lawsuit against San Francisco State.
And the Salesforce Tower got a little festive for Halloween last week. More on that coming up next.
Welcome back to State of Events. We know this is a big election day for the nation, but there are some important items on the ballot right here in San Francisco. Let's bring in the San Francisco City reporter, Hannah Pack, for a closer look at some of the city races and propositions that local voters will be considering.
Happy Election Day! There are some ballot measures specific to San Francisco. Proposition A is for an Embarcadero Seawall Earthquake Safety Bond voting, and then voting yes on Prop A would allow San Francisco to borrow up to $425 million in bonds to upgrade the Embarcadero Seawall. Proposition C is to add business taxes to fund homeless services. Voting yes on Proposition C would press additional business taxes to create a fund to support services for homeless people and to prevent homelessness. Proposition D would create an additional tax on cannabis businesses. Voting yes on this proposition would mean that you want to add taxes to cannabis businesses and apply many of San Francisco's business taxes to some businesses that do not have a presence in the city. 2 entrances to Civic Center BART Station were permanently closed last Thursday. One of those entrances between 7th and 8th Streets will be turned into a new power substation. BART officials hope that once completed, that substation will enable up to 30 more trains to run through the Transbay Tube during peak commuter hours. The closure will affect theater goers as the entrance is right next to several of the city's larger performance venues. BART officials have announced that they will do whatever is necessary to ensure a smooth transition. Construction is set to begin in 2019. The hot Bay Area housing market may be showing signs of significant slowdown, even as home prices have remained high. According to CoreLogic, sales of new and already existing homes in the Bay Area dropped more than 9% over the previous year. At the same time, the average price of a home in the Bay Area in June 2018 was $875,000, which is 12.9% higher than June 2017. Someone at the Salesforce Tower decided to have a little fun with the light display that appears on top of the building on Halloween night. The tower appeared to feature the Eye of Sauron, the evil force from Lord of the Rings trilogy. An online petition circulated prior to Halloween had requested that the tower be dressed up in this way. No report from Salesforce as to whether that petition influenced the decision to put the Eye of Sauron at the top of the building or not. That does it for our city report. Remember to go out and vote. Back to you guys at the desk.
Last year, firestorms killed 23 people and burned more than 5,000 homes in Sonoma County, making it one of the most devastating fires in California history. Coffee Park was one of the most affected neighborhoods, with more than 1,400 homes destroyed. A year later, Coffee Park is getting back to where it once was. 24 homes have been rebuilt, 551 are under construction, while 250 are currently waiting on permits, and a new electrical gas system has been installed. The city of Santa Rosa held a special ceremony in downtown last week to remember the people who were lost their lives in the fire.
The State Department of Water Resources reported last Wednesday that the deadline of finishing the Oroville Dam emergency spillway by November 1st has been met. In 2017, the nation's tallest dam made headlines when flooding caused the emergency spillway to split open, requiring 188,000 residents to evacuate the area. The event didn't end as bad as predicted. However, the dam industry is now taking a closer look at repairing old dams. The main spillway should be completed early 2019, allowing the road over the dam and a spillway boat launch facility to reopen summer 2019.
And now for some San Francisco news. A lawsuit accusing San Francisco State University of systematic tolerance of anti-Semitism was dismissed by a federal judge on October 29th. The legal action was brought by a group of state students with the support of local Jewish organizations in San Francisco. Though the group was backed by several other organizations focused on protecting civil rights, the federal court decided that they were not able to successfully show evidence of their claims.
San Francisco State alum Frank Somerville stopped by Studio One at Creative Arts to speak with the students from the Broadcast and Electronic Media Arts program.
It's always interesting when you come back because, you just remember, God, I remember when I was in this class. I remember when I was in this class. I remember how worried I was about, am I going to get a job? How is this going to work? And I remember being in here and having so much fun in some of the producing classes, the voice classes, the reporting classes. So it's always fun to come back.
Somerville shares stories of unique experiences he has as a news anchor in the Bay Area and his journey to becoming an anchor at KTVU.
Paul K. Longmore Institute on Disability on the SFSU campus is opening a Disability Cultural Center. The goal of the center is to illustrate experiences of people with disabilities and change others perceive disabilities. The center will be funded by a $100,000 contribution from the City of San Francisco's Department of Aging and Adult Services, or DAAs. A location for the Disability Culture Center has not been chosen yet, but DAA's Executive Director, Shreen McSpaden, is hopeful the center will open by late 2019.
Next on a State of Events, our sports reporter Kendall Hogan catches up on Bay Area sports.
And later, our entertainment reporter Jessica Murray is updating on Kanye changing his stances on politics. We will be right back.
Daddy, what is sustainability?
Sustainability?
Yeah, sustainability.
Well, it's composting.
Cool.
It's conserving water.
What about clothes?
You can reuse clothes too. ready for school?
Almost done.
Welcome back to State of Events, and now here with us is a look at the world of sports is co-sports director Kendall Hogan. Kendall, it's playoff time for fall sports. How are the Gators looking in the postseason?
Thanks. That's right, the playoffs are here, and the Gators have been riding the postseason wave. The men's soccer team fell in the first round of the CCAA playoffs with a tough loss to Cal State San Bernardino. The Gators finished the season at 10-4-3 overall. Aiden Bowers, the senior co-captain, was named Defensive Player of the Year, and 5 other Gators were named First Team Honorable Mention. Congratulations to Gustav Fink, Moses Gutierrez, Tariq Polskamp, Peter Swinkles, and Carlos Trujillo Leal. After a well-deserved playoff run, the women's Gator soccer team came up short against nationally ranked UC San Diego, going down by a score of 5-0. The Gators had advanced to the CCAA semifinals after a dramatic shootout win over Cal State San Marcos, where Nikki Ruki put the team on her back, as she has the entire regular season. Ruki was named 2018 CCAA Goalkeeper of the Year. Our SF State men's basketball team is kicking off the season, hosting the 2018 San Francisco State Basketball Tip-Off Classic. The tournament features our SF State Gators, the Academy of Art, Sonoma State, and Dominican University. Tickets can be purchased at the door. Courtside tickets are $20, general admission is $10, and SF State students, faculty, and staff get free admission with a valid SFSU ID card. Tip-off for our Gators men basketball team is this Friday, November 9th at the Swamp as they face off against the Academy of Art. Game time is 7:30 p.m. Our women's volleyball team punched their ticket into the CCAA championships with a sweep against Humboldt State this past Saturday. This is the 4th straight victory and 10th sweep of the season. The Gators are playing on the road in Turlock, taking on the number 1 seed Cal State San Bernardino this Thursday at 7:30 p.m. A San Francisco 49ers cheerleader took a knee during the national anthem last Thursday night when the Niners took on the Oakland Raiders. The woman has been identified as Kayla Morris and is the first NFL cheerleader to participate in the protest started by one-time San Francisco 49er quarterback Colin Kaepernick. However, Morris is not the first cheerleader in the world of football to take a knee. According to NBC affiliate, 5 cheerleaders at Kennesaw State took a knee during the national anthem in 2017. 4 of those women were not asked back onto the team following the following season. Media representatives for the 49ers have not responded for comment. San Francisco 49ers quarterback C.J. Beathard went down with a wrist injury, making way for Nick Mullins to have quite the memorable start against the Oakland Raiders last week. Mullins went 16 for 22, throwing 262 yards and 3 touchdowns. He led the Niners to a 34-3 blowout win against the Raiders in Santa Clara on Thursday Night Football. Mullins was a 2017 undrafted free agent out of Southern Miss and started the season on the 49ers practice squad until Jimmy Garoppolo tore his ACL in September. Then he was promoted to the active roster. After the win, teammate Richard Sherman said, "He did phenomenal. That's what the team needed. He did everything right today. This is Nick Mullins' day." According to NFL.com's Ian Rappaport, it would be a major surprise if Mullins does not start Week 10's game against the New York Giants. The U.S. Olympic Committee has taken the first steps in revoking the USA Gymnastics status as the governing body and is recovering from the allegations against team doctor Larry Nassar. CEO Sarah Hirschland came out with a statement on Monday apologizing to the gymnasts, stating they had failed the girls repeatedly in hopes of helping the governing body recover. Despite the efforts, they will be dismantling the entire national governing body for gymnastics. Hirschland hopes the new governing body will be set up by the time of the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. That's going to do it for the Gator Sports Report. When we come back next week, we'll have updates on the basketball tournament and all the rest of your Gator sports news. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Kendall. And next, Kanye West may be taking his exit from the world of politics. The rapper and fashion mogul Twitter last Tuesday that he plans on distancing himself from politics and says that he's being used to spread messages he does not believe in. The tweets come on a month after his SNL rants. The Princess of Japan chose love over her royal title. Princess Ayako will no longer be part of the imperial family after marrying her fiancé, Kimuraya, a regular man, not a royal man. The couple married last week in Tokyo with hundreds of locals celebrating with them. The princess might lose her palace, her fortune, and title, but she walks away with her husband and $1 million from the Japanese government for living expenses. With more entertainment, here's our reporter Jessica Murray.
Reality TV star Mike Sorrentino, also known as The Situation, married his college sweetheart Lauren Pesci last week in New Jersey. The couple got engaged last April while Mike was filming an episode of Jersey Shore Family Reunion. Friends and family, including the Jersey Shore crew, attended the ceremony. But the news is not all about his big day. The wedding comes just a few weeks after Sorrentino was sentenced to 8 months in prison for tax fraud. In an interview with People.com, The Situation said he is grateful to spend the holidays with his wife before beginning his sentence in January. And now for our TV Corner segment, we go through some of fall's most buzzworthy shows. First, we have Amazon's newest show, The Romanovs. Produced by Matthew Weiner of Mad Men fame, the show follows the lives of people who believe they belong to the infamous Russian royal family. Next up, we have Maniac, executive produced by Jonah Hill. The show follows the characters Annie and Owen after they participate in a pharmaceutical trial. The show's definitely a dark comedy and takes place in a futuristic universe, so I would definitely recommend it to anyone waiting for the next season of Black Mirror. And lastly, we have Charmed. Well, technically not a new show, it's a great tribute to the classic. CW's reboot of Charmed lives up to the original while displaying the diversity and representation that the original severely lacked. This week, we show a spotlight on a political drama in theaters now.
Gary Hart is bringing bold and inventive ideas into American politics.
Hugh Jackman plays promising presidential candidate Gary Hart in The Frontrunner. The presidential hopeful was considered shoo-in for the 1988 presidential election until his campaign was tainted of rumors of an affair. The campaign fed a media frenzy as journalists uncovered the history-making truth.
Point of view of the movie is not did he or didn't he, or should he or shouldn't he have been president. It's more what is important to us, what flaws will we accept in our leaders.
The film shows the merging of tabloid and political journalism for the first time in politics.
Can't hide from this. The cameras go everywhere.
It's up to us to hold these guys accountable.
Just because some other paper used gossip as front page news, I mean, that doesn't mean we have to.
It does. It does now.
This is a great examination of a turning point, particularly in how politics is covered, the relationship between politicians and the press.
Senator, you had sex with that woman?
Can't be serious. There's no need for that.
Don't you think you owe it to us to be forthcoming?
Oh, yeah. It's a thought-provoking as well as entertaining film. There's this real sort of trench warfare mentality on a campaign trail.
In a matter of days, Hart's campaign has collapsed.
We're talking about how you get through today without pissing away everything we've all worked for on this campaign.
We lose this, we can kiss the White House goodbye.
That's all for entertainment today. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Jessica. And that does it for today for this show. I'm Gianni Bagnarello.
And I'm Alexis Gonzalez. Thanks for watching and have a great election day.